This lesson will focus on how to use the iPad's camera, including all the different settings and the different types of shots and videos you can take. So there are 3 ways that you can start the camera on the iPad. The first one is actually opening the camera app. So my camera app is in a folder. So tapping the camera app will open the camera. The second way you can open it is using the control center. So swiping up from the bottom and tapping the camera icon will also open the camera. And the third way, if your iPad is in sleep mode and you want to take a picture quickly, as I put mine into sleep mode, so from the lock screen on the bottom right, I can slide up and that will also open the camera. So let's look at the different camera settings on the right there. The button at the top is the button to switch the camera from the front-facing camera to the rear-facing camera. So I'm just taking a picture of my monitor. If I tap the button, now it's going to take a picture of me. Hello. So you would use that camera if you're going to make video calls using Skype or FaceTime. That's the camera you would use. Normally, though, it's just a back-facing camera, so it can take what you aim it at. The iPad screen is a giant viewfinder. The second button down is the self-timer. So if I tap that, I can take a photo set for 3 seconds or 10 seconds, and as soon as I tap one, so now I can take a photo with a 10-second delay. Now when you have something active, it is a gold colour. So I'm going to turn off self-timer. I've got to tap the off. Now it's off. The second one down is HDR, which stands for High Dynamic Range. And if you have that turned on, and as you see it's active, it's gold colour, High Dynamic Range creates 3 different exposures of the same photo to create one better exposed image. And you might find that the HDR image has additional details or brighter colours. Depending on the situation, you would turn it on and off, toggle it on and off using this button. So it's turned on, and we go into the Settings app, and tap the Home button, find the Photos and Camera, and towards the bottom there are the only 2 camera settings. You can turn a grid on and off. The grid is useful for composing a photo. And in the High Dynamic Range, if you turn that on, then it will save the original photo as well as the HDR version of the photo, so you can see which one's the best. Go back to the camera. The only pictures I can take are what's sitting around me on my messy office. So I'll just take a picture of my bottle of water. The white button is the shutter, and the HDR is on. So going out of the camera into the Photos app, and now there are 2 pictures there. The first one is the original exposure, and the second one is the HDR version of it. You can see up in the top left there, you've got HDR. Now in this limited example, you might not see much difference between them, given that the subject's not that interesting, but that's how you can tell the difference between them. If you wanted to use HDR, you've got to decide, do you want to keep the original or turn it off? Now the white button, as I said, is the shutter. And as you change to different modes, that shutter will change. So at the moment, you can see at the bottom there, we're taking a photo. And to change between modes, just with your finger, slide up and down to select a different mode. Now I've selected a square photo, which will take a square photo rather than a widescreen photo, and that's good for social networks like Instagram. And you'll notice the shutter is still white, still take a picture in the same way. If I move it up, you can take a panorama. When you move the camera continuously and trying to keep the camera level on that yellow line as you pan around to get the whole scene. Now in the resources section, I've left some links on how you can take panoramic pictures using the iPad or iPhone. So you've got the panorama, square, the photo, you have a video. Now it takes 1080p video, high definition video. The shutter is now a red record button. So when I tap that button, it'll start recording, and you can see the time. It's now 5 seconds of video, 6 seconds of video. Pan around my office, take some video of what's in the office, the other monitor there. And just tap the red record button to turn that off. You can take a time-lapse video, and there's, again, the shutter's changed to a different shutter. And there's a link in the resources on how to take time-lapse videos. I'm just going to concentrate on photos in this video. The only subject I have is the bottle of water, so that's what we'll take a picture of. And I've got my grid turned on so I can compose that picture. I'm taking it in the landscape view, but I can turn it around and take it in the portrait view. I can pinch and zoom to zoom, and if I take a picture and tap and hold where I want the focus and the exposure to be, and you can sort of see that the bottle is now in the foreground, is in focus. That's the focus of the picture, whereas the printer at the back is not in focus as much, sort of sharp. And you can see at the top there it's on automatic exposure and automatic focus. Tap and hold and lock it in place. So you can also see there on the right, I can adjust the light. So going up and down there, I can adjust the exposure, making it darker or lighter. Take a picture with the shutter. Your picture or video goes into the camera roll. And here's a shortcut to the camera roll. By tapping that, I can see the last picture that I took, where I can now use the editing tools to edit that picture. Tap Edit, and I have all those editing tools there, and I see the video lessons on how to use the Photos app to edit. And you can see it's the HDR version up in the left there. There's an HDR version of it. Now, if I wanted to see all the photos and go out of the Photos app and into the Photos app, so you have the video, and here's the picture I just took. So this is the camera roll. Go back to the moments view here. We're in the collections view. So you can see all of the pictures there where you can trash them or edit them. Burst mode takes a number of pictures in quick succession, maybe 10 per second. And it's good for movement and unpredictability. So if you're looking at somebody walking or racing or playing sport, you could take a number of pictures in burst mode and then pick the best ones. So when I hold down the shutter, it's just taking frame after frame after frame. If that was a subject that was moving or my dog playing or something, I could then get the best shot. Now to see all your shots, go back into the Photos app, into Collections view. There's all the pictures I took in burst mode, and you can just tap one to go into the moments view and just scroll through them and pick which one's the best one and delete the rest. Now, it's not a good subject, so we're not getting any variation, but just imagine you're out on a park and your dog is running around chasing a ball and you want the best shot. That's when it's useful. To delete the rest, tap the select, and I just want to keep the first one, so I'll tap all the rest of them to select them, and then the trash, delete, so you can delete the ones you don't want. So that's burst mode. If you want to know where you took the photo and display it on a map, then you need to use geotagging. And geotagging will work as long as you've turned it on in privacy. So if you'd like to display your photos on a map using software like iPhoto or Picasa, you can also see it in the Photos app and turn this setting on. So let's just show you what it looks like. So the photos I took today, there's 5 photos, including the video. I took at home in the Moments view, or if you go back to Collections view, it also works there, but in a bigger scale. Let's pick Collections view and then tap Home. It shows you on a map where those photos were taken. Now I've zoomed out so you can't really see my address. You can see the area I live in. And you can see at the bottom there are 5 photos taken at that location. And if you tap those 5 photos, it will open up those photos into the Moments view, where you can watch them or look at them in a slideshow, do whatever you need with them. To get that to work, go into Settings and into Privacy. Location services needs to be turned on, so you can tap it and make sure it's on, and then underneath there, select the camera and tick while using the app. So that while you're taking a picture, your GPS coordinates will be taken and you'll be able to plot that photo on a map. And if you don't want that to happen, if you do never, then your location will not be available. Again, take another picture. That one should not appear on the map. So I'm going to Photos. So here's the picture. If I now tap Home, it still says 5 pictures, not 6, because I turned off geotagging. You can see there are 6 in that session today, but only 5 have appeared on the map. If you're going to use geotagging, then you need to be aware of a couple of things. One is battery life, because every time you take a picture, then the GPS is going to be invoked, looking at where you are. And the other one is privacy. So if you take pictures and you have geotagging turned on, then people will be able to see where that photo was taken and where you live, right down to the street. So in this lesson, we looked at the camera and how you access all of the different camera modes and settings.